to a very merry edition of What's Happening SBC. I'm your host, Durrell Morris, and my special guest today is a graduate of BPCC's Kappa program, Mr. Carl Pierson. Carl, I would like to thank you for taking the time out your schedule to join us for today.
Sure, my pleasure.
So, Carl, before we get into today's topic of discussion, I have to ask, what is your favorite thing about the holiday season for you?
I really like how family gathers together, not just for the food, although for the food, but I also like the idea that we're all so busy doing our lives and then we make time to be with each other. That's probably my favorite thing.
See, because usually for me, probably in the most part, it's probably just the receiving of gifts, Well, not always the gifts, because the gifts, that's just part of what the holidays is for the most part. But the coming together of family, like you said, right? That's probably one of the better parts, especially with the pandemic right now.
Right.
Because you don't get to see your family as often.
No, not as often.
So with that out of the way, I wanted to discuss a few places where you, Carl, and the viewers at home can go and enjoy some holiday festivities this season, with one of those places being the Polar Express out in Texas Railroad.
Oh, cool.
This place does take inspiration after the movie, the Polar Express, where you can get on the train and travel to different places, full of Christmas joy, of course, and the spirit of Christmas. You can also enjoy yourself a cup of hot cocoa and some cookies on this ride, all up until you reach the North Pole. Once you get there, you get to meet the man himself, Santa Claus.
Remember, the true spirit of Christmas lies in the heart, okay?
Now for this ride, they do have different classes for seatings. You have your standard coach class, which you get to enjoy the ride, but you won't get the keepsake mug for your cocoa. Granted, you still get to enjoy the hot cocoa, you just won't get that mug to take home with you as a souvenir. Then you have the first class seats that are mainly for people in the parties of 2 to 4, which here you can receive the keepsake mug. Up we go to the presidential class and then the dome class, which gets the keepsake mug with cocoa, cookies, and a top view of all the sights to pass by. When it comes to the pricing, this can range you from $60 to $100.
That's right, and this is all located in Palestine, Texas and Rusk, Texas. This can be up to a 2-hour drive, but it's worth it for the seat.
The next stop on our guide for this holiday has to be Christmas in Roseland. This takes place at the American Rose Center in Greenwood, Louisiana. Christmas in Roseland features an amazing display of lights and giant Christmas cards made by area schools from kindergarten to high school.
And the one thing I do want to say about the American Rose Center too is that I've actually taken part in this as well because along with it, you compete with other schools around because I did this in high school and in middle school where the different schools will make different rose cards because usually the requirement is they give you a wooden board pretty much and on that you just make a Christmas design and somewhere on there has to be a rose pretty much.
Right.
Which I know later I'll have some footage of it and some pictures of it for the show off for the Rose Center. But you can take the kids or yourself by Santa's Workshop to get a nice photo with Santa himself and enjoy some good food along the way. COVID is, of course, still with us, so Santa will be unable to hold the kids in his lap, but he will be able to stand in front of a backdrop for your photos. There's a gift shop at the Rose Center, and live performances with Christmas carols, dancing, and lots more. Why don't we take a nice look at some of the lighting and cars at the Christmas in Roseland? I say right there, that's one of the cars right there. Some of the cars actually look real nice for it, if you take a look at them.
Oh, yeah, I remember doing some of these when I was in school, which is, in the ancient times.
Ancient times.
Yeah, but this was a really big deal when we would go through.
I know they're still doing it today now.
Right. So I used to love it. I mean, I love flowers anyway, and then you go through all the lights and the travel. It was an event, and you always would take your family, you get in your car, and you drive slowly through there. It was always cool. Now, Christmas in Roseland costs $5 per person, with children 2 and younger getting in for free. Photos with Santa are only $10 each, and you can enjoy Christmas in Roseland now until December 19th.
Okay, Carl, so before we take our break, it's time for me to ask you, what makes the holiday season so special for you?
Again, like we talked about before, family, food. I'm not a big gift receiver, but I love giving gifts, and that look on your face when you get that gift just right, or at least they appreciate it. That's awesome. That is number 3 on my list behind family and food. Maybe food and family. Mostly family and food.
I'm about to say food stop for me right there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to kick it over to break, but don't go anywhere. We have more places to discuss when we come back on this very merry edition of What's Happening SBC.
Hi, and welcome to Bosch Community College's Sound Recording Technology program. I'm Lewis Williams, and I'm one of the instructors in sound technology. Let's take a look at what we have. All the instructors in the sound program are industry professionals currently working in sound production, whether it be live sound, music performance, or sound recording. We have current and former students who are doing what they love, working in television, radio, recording studios, live sound, in places of worship, and in the movie industry.
I am a non-traditional student, and what brought me to school was spending a lot of time out in the private sector and learning how important specialized training can be. The reason I came to BPCC was because I spent a lot of time in the private sector, in the music scene, and without a lot of guidance or direction. I just had a desire to create art and to be a part of the industry, and coming to school made the most sense because it allowed me to learn some of my bad habits and get rid of those and build good professional habits from the ground up. I feel like Bossier Parish Community College's sound recording program will help my career by teaching me the professional standard practices for recording audio, whether for a commercial song for an artist or scoring a movie or doing Foley, understanding the need for organization and the correct process to get those things done. I think it'll be a big help for me in the professional world.
Our hands-on approach to teaching sound technology, we feel, is the only true way to learn sound production. You cannot learn this technology from reading a book. Because of our approach, we utilize the most up-to-date recording and live sound equipment available for classroom instruction. So, if you want a career in sound recording, music production, live sound, or sound for film, come see us here at Bossier Parish Community College and let us show you how to get started in this exciting industry.
Welcome back, everyone, to our Christmas edition of What's Happening SBC. I'm your host, Durrell Morris, and I'm here with my guest for today's show, Carl Pierson. So, Carl, we left off discussing a couple different places in the area where our viewers can enjoy the holidays with their families. Where is the best place you have enjoyed the Christmas holidays at?
My mother used to live in Boston a long time ago, And before then, yeah, we would get snow in Shreveport, but it's something about having 2-3 feet of snow on the ground. We built, my cousins and I were out visiting Sam, we built little tunnels through the snow, which you couldn't do here because it's only like an inch or two.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. It was cold, but cold in a way that reminded you what season it was. I don't know if that makes any sense to you at all, but it's like there's bitter cold and then there's the crisp cold like you see on all the Christmas movies.
Yeah.
The crisp cold is contradictorily heartwarming. And just the bitter cold is, oh God, please let me find a fire. So yeah, that was probably my most memorable time was in Boston with my cousins and my mother.
So one of the next places I wanted to talk about was the Christmas in Natchitoches. So here it is the 98th annual light show that typically happens every year in Natchitoches per se. And pretty much what they do is at the festival, they show Christmas lights to all the visitors from all around them, from the Front Street area up to the riverbank. And we have some footage here showing just how amazing these lights can look.
Oh, wow.
And it's always a real treat, honestly, when you go down there to see it.
Yep, they have many things taking place, such as the light boat parade. This is where people will decorate their boat with Christmas lights and decorations, and then they show them off along the river for you and your family to see. This little event happens on December the 11th at 5:30 p.m.
That's right, and then we have all the light show happening all around in Natchitoches, and that's going on actually right now. From November 20th is when it started up to January 6th. Now, the cost of tickets are $10 with children of ages 6 and under getting free admission. Another area for the Christmas holiday that's coming up actually is the Christmas on Cattle fireworks. This is a festival happening over in Oil City, Louisiana, where you get to see some spectacular fireworks while with your family, and also enjoying some local entertainment, fair food, a bounce house, and more all over the Cattle Lake.
The great part of this too is that the admission is free right along with the parking. This is all taking place December 4th with the fireworks kicking off at 6:30 p.m.
And the thing with it, I've never actually kind of been over there per se.
You mean the Oil City one?
Yeah, the overseas one.
Yeah, me either.
But I will say, looking at it though, with the Oil City, it is. I would imagine it's actually real nice, especially with the bringing back the fair food, per se.
Right. Yeah, everybody loves fair food. I've not had it in the wintertime, but hey, delicious is delicious, right?
Yeah, I'd say because we had the fair about twice already this year. The fair food is honestly the best part of it.
We did. My family did go down to Natchitoches fairly regularly and see the lights. And I don't remember it costing $10, but then I was a kid. I'm not paying for stuff. So but I remember I've seen all the lights and the stuff on it, and that's a big deal for Natchitoches because, quite honestly, Natchitoches didn't have a whole lot going on. I apologize, in issue, but, Natchitoches is a small city, but that is their biggest event or tourist thing of the year is the whole thing from, the holiday deal.
Yeah, for Natchitoches, because the lights in Natchitoches, they're probably some of the most beautiful things you will see, especially what they put on a yearly basis. It feels like they just get better and better as you go over there. And it's just something I love going to on a yearly basis. Granted, I don't know if I'll go this year, of course, with the whole pandemic and everything.
Right.
Because right now it's just mainly just at home with the family, just kind of just getting by how it is.
Right.
But what would you think is the best place so far that you've seen?
I'm really digging the train. I love the movie. And did I read the book when I was a kid? I'm sure there was a picture book or something, or the Polar Express somewhere. But I just like the idea of it, and I think I might do that this year.
It looks very fun too. You have the dancing chefs and everything too. You get some nice hot cocoa on the side. Plus, if you got that dome class seat, you get like a top view of the whole train, pretty much. It's kind of actually really amazing, honestly.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of it until now, but I'm sure gonna give it a shot.
I like to give people memories. I like to give them something that they can look back on and it sparks some memory that makes them really happy or sad. I'm the instructor here at BPCC. I teach photography, and that includes fine art photography, wedding and event photography, portrait. I also teach Photoshop.
Photography can develop new skill sets and create opportunities.
After retiring in 2012 from the United States Air Force, I decided to find another passion, and that was with photography.
Not every photo shoot has the same needs. That's why BPCC provides instruction in a variety of courses, including portrait, event photography, and fine art photography.
As a student, you can learn all aspects of photography: operating the camera, how to pose your model, developing the right light for a shot, and how to use software such as Adobe Photoshop to polish your work.
It's so neat to be with the students through the process from day one when they're first learning how to turn on their camera, and then when they leave and they feel confident as they get jobs and see their work appear in galleries and on billboards. We want our students to have access to great opportunities, and we're the first college in the state to have a Phase 1 camera. Most importantly, we want them to get their degree and make a living.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to What's Happening SBC. I'm your host again, Durrell Morris, and I'm here with my guest, Carl Pierson. So, Carl, on a more personal note, what's the best and worst Christmas gift that you have ever received?
Okay, let me start with the worst one. The worst one I had to be 2 tape recorders. I know most of y'all are too young to know what a tape recorder is, but at the time it was just the most terrific thing. It was a box, and you had your little cassette, and you put it in there, and you could play music, and then you could also, record music or people talking or whatever. So I got one. And then another one showed up, and I said, "Oh, I am just the luckiest boy. I've got 2 tape recorders here." No, they put the wrong name on the gift, so I only had the one. so I was a little disappointed at that, but later on I was fine. The best gift I got, once again, dating myself, but that's all right. I accept my old age, is an Intellivision game system. It was an 8-bit system, so I'm already there. It was out at the same time as Ataris and as, what else was out there? ColecoVision. Y'all look it up, Google it. It was awesome. And I was just so happy to have this game system. And I tell you, to this day, I am the greatest Intellivision football player ever on the planet. We were out of town and just happened to walk into a toy store somewhere, and these little kids were playing. At that point, I was like a high schooler, and these little kids were playing on the machine. I walk up and I just, I crushed their little feelings there. Hopefully they bought the thing anyway because it's fun. But that was my best gift, an Intellivision game system. What about you?
So, on my end of the spectrum here, I would say, well, it's funny how this is one of the best ones, considering what it is. So, I'm more of a gamer myself, right? And I play more of the modern stuff. So, one of the best things I could say I've received was, back with the Xbox 360, they had just announced the Kinect system, right? It was the whole motion control thing that pretty much is kind of like the Wii in a sense, but more, you don't need the controller. It's just all like hand-eye movement and stuff. But the way how I got that is kind of funny because my brother had bought it, but he sucked at hiding it because he had walked in with a Best Buy bag, and I could see right through it. And I said, I can't piss with saying, well, what's that gift you got me? But I said, is that the Kinect? He said, no. And I feel horrible for it now, but it's funny to look back. But it was more of finally, like, my mom let me open it early because she knew I already found out at that point. It's like, I might as well get it now. And it was actually a fun experience for what it was when it first came out. Now, compared to now with what happened to it now, kind of died off the Kinect. They tried to bring it back for when the Xbox One came out, and about to say that flopped pretty bad, especially with the stuff they launched with it for. But mind you, it was they had a nice lineup of games. They had I also got Dance Central for it. It was like a dancing game for it. It was like they had one called Kinect Adventures, if I remember correctly. It was like 2 games I had for it around the time.
That was the one with all the sports on it. That was one with like the skiing and the.
It was
that
one with
kind of
like with all the sports on. I know it was like, I think it was like rock climbing and some other things on there.
Okay.
Now, worst gift wise, I would kind of per se. Well, I wouldn't really call it the worst gift. It's the one that kind of comes to mind. Really.
Socks.
I mean, that's part of it right there. Just some like socks, some like Christmas wear. I think some of the older Christmas clothes I've gotten like over the years, I think I've ended up giving to Goodwill per se. I mean, it goes somewhere better pretty much because I know I'm probably 9 times out of 10 not gonna wear that clothing probably as out as much. Plus, my closet is overstocked, which don't get me wrong, that's a blessing in itself. Yeah. But I say some of this stuff has got to go right now. So
fruitcake. That's what it was. It was fruitcake. I remember now. Someone gave me fruitcake. I hate fruitcake. I don't understand the concept of fruitcake. And that was a gift, an actual gift I got from somebody. Oh.
See, I have never had fruitcake, and I wish to never want to have that.
Although there are people who love fruitcake, like candy corn. There are people who love fruitcake over all things. I don't understand it, but it is true.
I would say people who eat candy corn are different from you. Okay, Carl. So before we end today's show, I would like to ask you one more question. Do you consider Christmas to be the best time of year, and why?
Is it the best time of year? The whole Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's corridor is the best time of year. Again, family, food, gathering. But Christmas in and of itself, like I say, it's got to be a particular type of thing. You know, the weather's got to be just right. I mean, not just right, but there's it needs to be kind of cold. It needs to be, but yeah, the whole thing, the whole corridor there, end of the year holiday corridor is terrific.
See, but I say, how would you stack it compared to like Halloween or say like Easter? Or
something? Halloween's not. Halloween, I love Halloween. Don't get me wrong. But Halloween's not really a holiday in the same way. You don't gather, kids gather, people go party, but it's not really, a thing that is in your heart. If Halloween ended tomorrow, no more Halloween, people aren't going to be like super upset about it unless you make candy or candy corn. But you're not really going to be upset about it. Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa ends, people are going to lose their minds.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for our special edition of What's Happening SBC.